Welcome to my food journey, and today we are making my favourite dish, Fatteh. Fatteh is so popular in the Middle East. It is layers of crispy bread with soft chickpeas topped with a tahini garlic yogurt and then drizzled with butter, ghee, whatever you wish, but this dish is amazing. What I love about this dish is it has many elements, but all those elements can be made and prepped the day before. They can actually be prepped 2 days ahead of time. So if you're having a dinner party and that's what you want to do, that's on your menu, prep it 2 days before. But I also love prepping it in the morning. It's done, everything is set aside, and when everybody comes home for dinner, I just really assemble it. So we're going to begin with some chickpeas. You're in a hurry, this is canned chickpeas. Wash, rinse, and put them in a pot. If you're someone that loves to use the dry chickpeas, you need to plan ahead. You need to soak your chickpeas the night before. And the following day, you will then need to bring them to a boil until they're nice and softened. So here, we're going to cover them generously with water because you don't want the water to dry. I'm going to bring that to a boil, and then I'm going to simmer that on low, and I'll simmer that for a good 20 minutes because I really want those chickpeas to be really nice and soft. The chickpeas now on the stove, and now we need to get the bread ready. This is a crispy bread. Find yourself the flat Arabic bread or flat bread you get from the shops. Now, you can easily rip the bread apart with your hands, but I like to actually keep mine all uniformed and cut with the scissors. So, I hope everyone owns a kitchen scissors. I have one just for the kitchen. I usually snip my herbs with it, I'll cut the bread with it, or even sometimes when you need to open packaging. You want these to be big enough for you to scoop and eat. So we don't want big pieces of bread, and we don't want tiny pieces of bread that will crumble. Obviously, Arabic bread is a pocket, so you'll find that it will come apart, but that's what you need, that's fine. Don't be afraid to even pile them, right, all the strips on top of each other, and just cut, it's even quicker. If you wanted to prep ahead of time, you could easily fry this bread the day before. My only tip here is don't put it in a container while it's hot and cover it, okay, because it will soften up, so make sure that it's completely cool. If you have bread that is a few days old and you don't know what to do with it, what I do is I cut everything up, I bag it, I put it in a bag, and that bag here goes into my freezer, right? So the next time I'm making fatteh, I don't need to do this process. I've got some in the freezer that I can just fry. And you don't need to defrost it, straight from the freezer into your oil. Best way to test your oil here, because you don't want to put your bread into cold oil, is grab one piece of bread and just drop that into the oil, and you'll know now that it's bubbling, so that's ready to go. So what I'm going to do now is add the rest of the bread that I've just cut up. I'm deep frying my bread for a crispy finish, but you can actually grill the bread. If you grill the bread, you need to use the whole bread, so don't cut it up, for a healthier option. So here we are, what we're looking for is just a nice golden colour, okay? You don't want them too brown, so as soon as they change colour, they're nice and golden, remove them with your slotted spoon. Have your spoon ready to go because this is such a quick process. If you didn't want to deep fry it in vegetable, canola oil, whatever oil you use, you can actually shallow fry it. So you would probably use maybe 40 grams of butter or ghee, okay? Melt that in your frying pan and then add the bread, and it will still be nice and crispy. It will have a lot of flavour because we're talking butter, we're talking ghee, but probably it won't be as crunchy as when you deep fry it, so you can do either or. This is what I'm serving my dish in, okay? This is the serving bowl. Now I've put some paper towels here to soak up the oil, and I've put that bread straight into there, just so I don't create more dishes. Moving on to our third element, which is the yogurt sauce. So if you love the combination of yogurt and tahini, you're going to love this. Not everyone traditionally will put tahini into their yogurt, but I do. It's something I learned from my mum, and it's delicious, amazing. So here I've got some garlic. Let's sprinkle that with a bit of salt. Salt will allow me to crush that garlic easily. It will soften it. And I'm crushing straight into the bowl that I'm going to use for my yogurt. Again, less dishes. If you want to use the garlic crusher, you can also do that. Okay, so now we're adding the yogurt to the garlic, and with yogurt, it's also very personal. Do you love tangy yogurt? Do you love creamy yogurt? Completely up to you. I love creamy yogurt. So if you use a spatula, you probably pretty much can guarantee that you get most of the yogurt out of your container or out of your bowl. Okay, so tahini. Not everybody uses tahini in their yogurt sauce for this dish. My mum does, and trust me, I really think that you should too. If you follow me, you know I always store my tahini upside down, okay? So it just prevents it from separating from the oil. I'm going to add just a little bit of tahini to my yogurt here. We need to season that with salt. I'm just going to add, say, 1 to 2 tablespoons of water just to break it down a little bit and mix that through until it's really well combined. And the tip here is to always taste the yogurt and make sure it's well seasoned, it's ready to go before you pour it over your fried bread, and perfect. Ready to assemble. This is one of the easiest recipes for you to make. Do not be put off by the elements, because as you saw, all the elements are so easy. One of the elements is basically heating up your canned chickpeas. We've got the paper towel inside this serving dish, so you need to remember to remove that from your dish before you start to assemble, because true story, my sister once was at my house and I did exactly that. I had all the elements ready and it was time for us to eat, and I said to her, hey, can you assemble the fatteh? And she went ahead, assembled the fatteh, and we all realised as we were eating that she left the paper towel inside the serving dish. Yep. So, gotta remove that. Spread your bread evenly around inside the serving dish here. And now what we're going to do is place the chickpeas on top. Now, I want wet chickpeas, okay, but I don't want too much water onto the bread, okay? But you still want it to be wet. You don't want to kind of dry it off. So scoop it while it's wet, even if it's dripping a little bit. Scatter those chickpeas all over your bread. And what I'm going to do is I've left a handful of the chickpeas in the water because I need those to garnish with. We've made our yogurt, and what we're going to do is pour that over your dish. Now, keep in mind, when you assemble this dish, you need to eat it, okay? So once you put the yogurt over your bread, after a little while, after about half an hour, your bread will start to soften and will become too soft, and that's not what you want to have. You're going to spread it evenly, and again, if you use a spatula, you can pretty much scoop down all the yogurt from your bowl. Now, what I like to do here is just poke the yogurt down with my spatula just a little bit. This allows the yogurt to sink in as well to the bread. So the best part to this now, to finish this dish off, we are going to melt some ghee. You can use butter, you can use ghee, you can use olive oil. I don't highly recommend it, you can, but this is flavour. Here you will notice that I started off with a solid ghee. It was softened. Even with your butter, you would just put your butter in there without melting it. Along with the pine nuts, you want the ghee or the butter to heat up really well, and then as your pine nuts change colour, you will remove that and drizzle that over the yogurt. And now, if you want to know if your fatteh is a success, pour your ghee or your butter over the top and listen to this sound. Do you hear that tush sound? If you get the tush sound, then your butter or your ghee has been hot enough. So pour that all over. And here, this is our garnish. And now what we can add a little bit of chopped parsley for some colour. If pomegranates are in season, garnish with a bit of pomegranate. And if all fails and you honestly do not have any of these at home, you can get some sweet paprika with a bit of that orangey reddish colour, and just sprinkle that on your fatteh. And this, by far, is one of my favourite dishes ever. Back in Lebanon, this is served for breakfast, right? You'll probably need a nap after that, given that it's breakfast, but it's pretty delicious. Give it a go.